All right, well, hello everybody. I'm just returning home from another raid. Wasn't anything special, so I decided not to show it. I've just been getting a whole bunch of boring, simple raids. I did have a couple of good ones. I know I haven't posted in a long time, but I had a couple good ones, and I had video issues that I ended up losing them. But I'm just trying to get back on the horse with this, so I'll at least show you guys my recycler that I finally maxed out on with the electronics. So, and here it is. So this is the result of 20 stack of phones with the 5%. Let me make a little room real quick. And which one's got room? And I'll show you. This is the results of my raid plus some other stuff in my chopper and other stuff. I'll show you that. But so yeah, another circuit, more of these and these. This is what a 20 stack of phones look like. So you got 5% on the circuits, and it just says max now. So my plan for the recycler at this point is I'm going to burn through the remainder of my phones and my USB drives. And I've also got a bunch more transmitters I can throw in there. Once all those are done and I have the most circuits I could get out of that, I'm probably going to start working on the mechanics, I think, next. I have another engine I can throw in there, and I'm just gonna, I guess, try to max that out. While I'm maxing that out, I'll keep saving up more and more stacks for circuits, and when I get a full stack of phones or something, I'll stick that in there. Circuits are always going to be the thing I'm focused on, but you know, there's a couple other things to be getting out of there, especially steel. It is nice that you can get copper out of there with batteries, and that's an easy way to get it, but the copper is really time consuming to turn into steel. It takes a lot of wood to do it. So ideally, if you can get steel out of mechanics or guns or armor or something, then that's going to be, you know, a lot easier in the long run. The only problem is there aren't usually things that can stack in there and just cook in there overnight. So overnight stuff is usually going to be me sticking a stack of phones or some batteries or something like that in there. So yeah, I've got quite a bit of copper that I'm working on. I've got this thing running around the clock basically. And I'll just show you the results of my little raid here. It was just an open base, pretty boring. I got these guns up here that I brought home on my first trip, and I got all this. So not a bad haul at all for a revenge raid. I got the gas too, and that's about it. So I've got a little bit more to do, and maybe this will actually turn into a decent raid, and I'll try to post that. One other thing though, for the very first time I ran out of food for my dogs, and so that's kind of too bad. But this feeding the dogs constantly is such a chore. I always hope to find a couple stacks of turkey in a raid, and it doesn't happen very often. So I'll give them this stuff here. I mean, the reality is that you could, I think the smartest way to do the dogs is something I've been thinking about, since it is a pain to feed them, at least for me. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but is these perks that you get, Bloodhound and Hunter, and crossbreeding, the things that you actually use, you don't have a need for unless you're playing the game. You don't need it overnight while you're sleeping. You don't need it when you're not playing. You only really need those perks when you're playing. So one way to look at how the dogs work, because if they're hungry, you don't get their perks. That's my understanding. Is if you just keep them with no food, all the time, except when you're actually playing. So like right now, if I were to drop, let's say I want to play the game for an hour or two, I could come over here and drop a few steaks in, maybe a turkey. I think a turkey gives me about 4 or 5 hours with the amount of dogs I have right now. I could just come over here and drop one turkey in here and play and get the perks. So I'm going to go to a red zone. I'm going to get, find some more C4. More likely I might find a dog or some more turkeys or something. So I can get those perks when I'm playing, and when I'm not, then they just go hungry. And I save all that food, and I can start saving up a big stockpile of food. So I think that's the new way I'm going to start playing. We'll see how that goes. But I think that's the trick right there. If you're struggling with your dogs and they're a pain in the butt to keep fed all the time, I think that's probably the best way to do it. And you can just start saving up your food for, when you got enough, then you can just keep it running all the time if you got, a ton of it. So, okay, hope that helps, and I'll see you hopefully on this raid later tonight. Okay, all right, bye.